Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman. Come back to do part 2 of Two Atheists and Agnostics, Just a Question. Why am I in the position that I'm in, and why do I continue to be unsure? I'm going to start where I left off. So I'm just going to rewind and start talking about. So if you haven't seen the last video, go back and watch that. This is part 2. And if YouTube cuts me off, again, I find it really annoying. Anyways, so asking whether it was a natural process, and I believe it is, because each individual goes through the process of individuation. They war with the Great Mother and the Great Father. The Great Mother can be represented as instinct. So, because Christianity and Judaism and many belief systems are patriarchal, they do war with the instinct. Because they're patriarchal, they're formed by male society groups, maybe hunters, or maybe warriors, which brought laws and culture and many such things. That's why they're very patriarchal. Warring against the instinct, which is matriarchal. Matriarchal changes in small variations, but not all that much, because it's instinctual to man. So they war against that. And that's why you see a lot of retaliation to the goddess idea. But the Great Mother is always there, and when we pass, we go back into her symbolically, into the earth, into the tomb, into the womb, into the belly of the whale, being swallowed by death. It's a process. So in order to become individuals, we get kicked out of that garden, just like Job was stripped of everything. He knew himself a lot better sitting on the ash pile, scraping his sores with the shard, because everything was not given to him. Everything that he knew was taken from him, and it seemed as if the divine was out to kill him, or the divine used Satan, as a tool to persecute Job. And we don't question things of nature. Why did, well, we may, but not as much as we question God. Usually if something happens in nature, sometimes we have an explanation about why it happened. However, we don't question to the extent that we question God. Well, nature, how come you allowed so many people to be wiped out by that disease? You give us all these things. We've seen you as good. You grow our fields. You grow our crops. You allow us to eat and live. On the other side of that, starvation happens. Disease happens. Death happens. And so we see there again, the good mother, the evil mother, good father, evil father. So God even came to kill Moses. You read when he was coming back, and his wife had to protect him by circumcising their son. So people find that hard to believe that the deceiving or lying spirit of God would set people up for destruction. But it happens all the time in mythology. It happened to Hercules. He's sent on the 12 labors because the goddess Hera hated him. But in the end, after he passed the test, after he proved himself, which Job did, maybe that's why later writers may have added that Job gets everything back. In this life, we don't really get everything back, but if you prove yourself through virtue, righteousness, justice, and mercy, you may be able to get something back, which is pretty interesting, if not a peace of mind. And that's what agnostics and atheists have. They have virtue. And I think that if you actually sat down and maybe talked to them, and talked to them about their way, they would be more than happy to tell you. But I think a lot of the times they're written off as non-important or already deceived, and I can't hear anything they have to say because it's a form of deception. When in reality, none of us know the end. The only thing that we know is that death definitely is always punctual and will be on time. And how we live our lives every day is important to both the religious and the non-religious. There was an interesting study that came out, how religion is beneficial, and I believe this. The miners that were stuck in the mine in Chile, there was only one person down there who did not suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, and that was the minister. There may be something to that, you know. Can an agnostic or a secularist have such psychological abilities? You bet. But they have to be able to use that within themselves to overcome adversity. So Job realized this within himself when he did not have the help of the divine, and he did not have the help of his friends, he did not have the help of his family, he did not have the help of his culture and the normal support group that should be supporting him. So he had to do it on his own. And maybe that's what we're out doing. We're toiling, we're learning, we're figuring things out, and we're looking for better ways and better answers than what religion has given us in the past. Because they say that the divine does not change, yet he does change. He changes with social norms and cultural norms as things progress. What does not change is the instinct. And that's why I find it very hypocritical on belief systems that say, my belief system, being saved and sanctified, puts under the instinct and allows me to function as a human being without the need of instinct. That is false. That is false. And I have not seen it work at all. Instinct is always there. We fight it. We try to regulate it. But in the end, we understand its importance, and we come back to it after the battle. And what is that battle? It's the battle of the dragon. Fighting Maut, fighting death, whatever problem that you have fighting sin, there is a treasure to be won, and there is a thing to find and keep. And then once we find and keep that, we gain much respect within ourselves, and we feel empowered. However, if we fail to win, some of us sink. Some of us sink. And that's what happened when we fought the battle, agnostics and atheists. We came, we thought there was a treasure, but it was not there for us, and quickly we realized that it was a whole nother battle, and that the monster and that thing was the belief system itself. So we did not throw away. A lot of times people say, oh, I'm going to trash religion. Keep it. Perseus kept the head of Medusa, and he kept it as a weapon. And he did not win the battle with the monster through facing it head-on. He used craftiness by using the reflection of the shield. So through reflection, Medusa was brought down. And through reflection, the beast is brought down. And what we do, agnostics and atheists, if we do it right, we cut the head off the beast, like David cut the head off Goliath. We take it home and we save it. And we pull that head out for reflection when we see another beast like it. It inspires our confidence. We know we did it once. We know we can do it again. And just maybe it was the right thing to do. And hanging on to that head and carrying it around with us is probably the best thing that we do. Sounds kind of gruesome, but why not? So hopefully you sit down and you ask some of your friends all these questions online, and maybe you actually, rather than just being friends, get to know some agnostics and atheists and non-believers, and you'll quickly find out that they are very much like yourself. So be well, friends, and remember to strive to obtain the highest forms of virtue. Be well. If everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking